State and primarily settling in the Philadelphia area that we predominantly call the Africa Town. Last year I was here and I had the show with Vafle Kamara. We talk about the Africa Town project,
Okay.
but we expanded this project to include business development, community development, as well as improving the quality of life for our people, and not just immigrant in this case, but people who lives in that section of the city of Philadelphia called Southwest Philadelphia.
Okay.
And the goal is to make sure that unprivileged people do get access to resources to improve their life and quality of their life as well.
Mhm. And my interest for which I decided to place this call to you to be as part of the program today, you just said something about it in is business development. Where I'm coming from here is we're talking about now the economy as part of uh, President Joseph Boakai arrest agenda. The economy is one of them, and bringing the economy, to par with other economies, will need the expertise of many people, men like you, coming together and linking the private sector with that of government. So that is why I thought to have you on the program today. So looking at the work you do, and in terms of, okay, now Liberia is under the new leadership, under the leadership of President Joseph Boakai, and he's keen about the economy. But one will ask, and I'm asking, how can this be done in terms of linkage from where you are from and Liberia back home? Where can we start from?
A very good question. And let me just also mention that when President Barker was Kennedy, he visited the United States on several occasions, and some of the area he also visited was the African Cultural Alliance,
Okay.
ACANA, primarily we call it.
So it sounds like you have had conversation already.
Oh, absolutely. We talk about several things when he visited Philadelphia, and we sit down and talk about some of the possibility that we can bring to Liberia. Look, the truth of the matter is the government of Liberia will not solve all of our problems. So we need to involve the private sector. We need to empower the private sector, and that empowerment includes leveraging our connections, our networking, to make sure that we bring private sector investment opportunity, linking diaspora Liberians into local Liberians and forge ahead with the development of this country, as well as making sure that we improve the private sector by bringing resources to Liberia so that folks can be, we can create job opportunity. We should not wait for the government of Liberia to create all of the jobs that people want to do, which is going to be impossible. So private sector is a way to go, and the government just need to provide a platform that will enable investors coming to this country, and but most importantly, even the local investors here, to give them the opportunity to create job opportunity for local Liberians, so that together we all can improve the economy of this country and build a solid economy for our country.
As the director of the of community development program, I'm anxious to ask, what would be your role, in ensuring that this linkage is done? Businesses in Philadelphia or in the United States at large are linked with local businesses to ensure, yes, the partnership is forged, and businesses here can improve as a matter of fact.
So one of the ways is to really build relationship with Liberian business associations,
Okay.
and to ensure that those business associations are also connected to business association in the U.S., especially when we talk about the U.S. Liberian Chamber of Commerce, we talk about the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we talk about the Asian Chamber of Commerce, we talk about even the Ghanaian Chamber of Commerce, and in the United States. How do we bring those people together on the table to sit down and discuss the opportunity that both party can benefit from? So those are ways. Since my arrival here nearly a month ago, I have been meeting some of the business owners here in Liberia to make sure that we create the kind of opportunity between Liberia-owned businesses and that of diaspora Liberian businesses and non-Liberian business owner as well. So even on my way here to the studio today, a friend of mine from Philadelphia, he's an African American over the year who has been thinking about bringing investment opportunity to Liberia. But again, at the time, he was not very convinced to come. But now he's asking me, since we have a new government, new president, what are some of the opportunities that we can bring to Liberia to help with investment? So my interaction with the business owner is to make sure that I'm able to identify some of the areas in terms of product, in terms of services. What are those things that we can bring to this country? And what are those things that we can connect business owner here to diaspora business owners so that it can be a win-win for both sides?
And you are working with them, Mr. Traoré. What is their interest that you think, will be easily linked to Liberia? Because you, like I said, you are a Liberian, but you work there, you understand their interests. So what are some of the things that maybe Liberians listening right now will start gearing up? They start looking in certain areas that they think will be better, that when the opportunity comes, they will be ready.
Oh yeah, and absolutely. I have a friend who is very much interested in investing in the fishing industry in Liberia. He is thinking about that. I have a friend who is interested in investing into beauty product for both male and female beauty product in Liberia. I have friends who are even talking about sanitary product, bringing them to Liberia. Once the atmosphere is conducive for that, they are ready to invest in those things, and not forgetting about the manufacturing sector as well. Those are areas where we should invest so that those manufacturing companies can employ several of the Liberian people here and pay them a living wage, so that they can be able to sustain their family and themselves in this society. So we are really talking about some of the products and services that the investors are looking to bring to Liberia.
And what we just spoke about was the issue of business, the issue of the economy, something that will affect the economy directly. But I see so much of what I have here about Akana. I see so much services listed here as what you are involved with. And like, for example, they are talking about community development programming, building rehabilitation. And the issue of building rehabilitation is what caught my attention and driving me to the issue of drugs. This is one area the president has really promised that he wants to exert some efforts to curtail drugs in the country, to curtail the issue of drugs. So how are you looking at that also when it comes to building rehabilitation?
So that's an interesting part of this conversation. And again, I'm happy that you have researched Akana. I didn't provide this information to you. It is based on your own research. Akana, I consider it as an institution that I consider as a one-stop shop. You walk in, whether you need help with immigration services, we provide that. We have immigration lawyers who help to adjust individual statuses as well. And we also have mental health and we got drug and alcohol
Okay.
situation. We have counselors who are case managers who work on those cases. We have Liberia own trained Western doctors and psychiatry who are working with some of these individuals who have some drug issues and mental health issues. And as far as even we have Liberian own doctors who work with some of the FGM victims in the US from Liberia and other part of the world. So my area is specifically business and community development, and I
Okay.
have been able to elevate that area to making sure that the 700 business owners that we work with,
You work with 700 business
700 business
owners.
owner,
Wow, that's large.
yeah, and these are not just Liberian owned business owner; they are non-Liberians as well. But primarily, they are located in an area where we call the Africa Town, a project that we embarked on 7 years ago, and we were able to get it through City Council. It was approved. We have had the groundbreaking for the African Center. But let's talk about the issue of the drugs you just mentioned.
Sure.
Certainly, it is a possibility that our doctors working for Akana, our friends, our partners, we can pretty much connect them to agencies here in Liberia that will be in charge of drugs and alcohol abuse program to help provide some counseling services to our young people, to Liberian, whether young and old, because addiction is an issue not just for young people.
Sure.
Addiction can also be for elderly people, and they need a way out. And that way out must be provided by professional individuals to help build this society as well. So those are things that we can do.
Okay. You are listening to the Bumper Show. We are going through now our last segment of the program. We have Mr. Musa Trawali, Director of Community Development Program for the African Cultural Alliance of North America, also known as ACANA, funded by the city of Philadelphia. He's our guest on the program. I know you out there listening, you will want to interact, you will want to call through like you usually do, but we will open the lines later to have all of what you want to say here on the program. But in the meantime, we are still talking with Mr. Trawali and still laying the ground work for what you can call to talk about later. Now, Mr. Trawali, business development, I will go back to it, and because that's what we are talking about. You talk about linking businesses from the 700 businesses that you work along with. That's interesting, and I will, on behalf of maybe Liberia, appeal that all of these areas, even though you are into business development and programming, but if you can, like I just said, I went through what your organization is doing. It's so much that in everything that I see on this agenda, everything here is important to Liberia. But I want us to come back home, on the local scene and look at the businesses that you've been seeing so far, business people you've been talking with, what is their interest also?
Firstly, even before we talk about their interest, let's talk about the entrepreneur spirit that I see in the society.
Okay.
I see young people, older people, everybody want to do business. And when I'm talking to them, the issue is resources.
Yeah.
They don't have funding. They don't have funding.
Access to finance.
Exactly. So what do we do to make sure that with that entrepreneur spirit that I see with the folks here in Liberia, how can we leverage that to ensure that we provide the necessary funding to them and hold them accountable to make sure that they survive? They don't just depend on government job. They can do business, survive through that, and feed their family through that. So those are things that I am very much passionate about. And like I told you, the city of Philadelphia does have programs that assist small business owner,
Okay.
because it is clear that small business owner are the backbone of the economy, because they help to create job, they help to make sure that services are provided to the residents of the city, and they also pay taxes to the city of Philadelphia that the city use to draw revenue from and help to develop the city itself, and also pay some of the city projects like what we do for the city. So we need to first identify businesses here in Liberia that are willing to go through some level of mentorship, to go through some level of technical training, so that they understand the fundamental of doing business in society like ours here in Liberia. Okay, that will prepare them to graduate from just being a small business to a medium size and even to a full fledged business owner here in. And you can see the story around here, because some of the business owner, like even my own brother, Fomba Trawale, who is the head of the National Territory.
Okay.
If you follow his profile, he came to this country from Gambia after the war. He came with $200, okay, 200 United States dollars, that he was able to invest into slippers, into plastic product. Today, certainly we should be proud of him, and we are proud of him because he now has a manufacturing, okay,
Yeah, the National Territory.
the National Territory Manufacturing Center. But the important thing is he is creating job for local Liberians.
Okay.
I mean, when I visited the factory, I realized that there are more than 45 to 50 employees. And I was talking to them, they were very, very candid about the opportunity that Kumba Bindu and the National Territory has given to them to employ them, pay them a living wage, which they are using to take care of their family.
So, listening to you, the issue of access to finance is one thing that we all know businesses cry about so much, especially local businesses. But more to that, the issue of training, technical assistance, these are very, very cardinal for these businesses.
So those are the programs that I champion very well in my day-to-day work in the city of Philadelphia.
Okay.
We don't just throw funding at somebody who want to be business or desire or doing business. We make sure you meet the training requirement. We pull you through the training program so that you understand what it means to go into business and what kind of business, what kind of product, what kind of competition, who are your competitors in the environment, and how do you even market your product, whether it is online or even in a storefront in the area. So those are things that small business owner need to understand, and there got to be institutions that will provide those technical assistant training to business owners so that they can improve their life.
Mr. Charlie, if I may ask, how willing are you, to provide your expertise? Yes, you have your job in the United States, but how willing are you to provide your expertise to local businesses? Do you need to have a government job? Say, Mr. Charlie has been appointed, he's working in this specific ministry before you can do that, or you will do that based on collaboration?
Look, not necessarily that once you have a government job to provide this type of technical assistance in the environment. Look, first, it got to be about Liberia. You must love your country. And loving your country means bringing by your expertise and impact other people. Even the job that I do in the city of Philadelphia, I tell you, some of the Ivy League school, like University of Pennsylvania, some of the professor asked me, based on the track record, right? They asked me to go and audit their class, or sometimes they even asked me to go and teach their classroom, MBA students, to talk to them about this is the theoretical aspect of business, learning in a classroom, but this is the practical aspect of doing business. So you can have a MBA in business administration, whatever it is, but it doesn't prepare you just to start business from scratch to become a successful business owner. It takes experience, it takes training, it takes people who been through a program. So, with the question of how willing I am, I'm certainly willing, prepared to come to Liberia and help our people to understand the nature of doing small business, and perhaps even helping some of the mega businesses to improve uh, their business activity, whether it is local or international. Because Liberian business owners must also connect with international business owners so they can understand, they can leverage funding opportunity. There are organizations, all right, that are willing to help small business development activities in places like Liberia and other third world country, and but they are looking for institutions that are willing to be accountable to those funding, so that at least it can yield some level of positive result for the country and for the people who will be in those programs.
Accountability is very important to businesses. Accountability very, very important, and we hear that always, that Liberians don't pay loan. They take the loan, they don't pay. But I know you've been around Liberian businesses. What is your take on this one in terms of accountability? Liberian businesses being accountable for what they take as loan from banks.
So, and I'm going to make this very clear to you that in my career, I experienced this with even Liberian-owned business owners in the diaspora. But I have my own strategy, and that strategy helped me to make sure that I make those business owners better business owners and trustworthy business owners, where we were able to increase their borrowing power just from taking from maybe borrowing 10,000 to 50,000 and to 200 to even $500,000. But let me tell you the strategy. No, look, when I started working with Liberian-owned business owners in Philadelphia, we connected them to resources from Women Opportunity Resource Center. They are pretty much a CDFI, and CDFI is a Community Development Financial Institutions. It's funded by the federal government and state government to provide low interest loan to small business owner in the city of Philadelphia, but to ensure that those borrowers pay the money back. So when I get people into that program, I just don't throw them into the program, let them borrow the money and not to follow up. So my strategy is I send you to a funder, work with you, you secure the funding, and I follow up on the payment. If you are given a grace period of 2 to 3 months to begin payment on the 4th month, I will be the one calling you and say, look, I'm reminding you that on the 15th of next month, in this case, on the 15th of February, you have to make your first payment to WRC. Because if you don't do that, it becomes a default, credit default, which will destroy your credit and will pretty much will not allow you to borrow again. And business owner they don't want to hear that. So the follow-up matter a lot. That when you give somebody money and give them a timetable, schedule payment, follow up, because you may not know, but small business owner, they are some of the hardest working people on planet that I have seen. They are so busy working, and sometimes it is not intentional. For some, it is intentional, but sometimes people just forget that they have to pay debt on the 15th of February. So you must remind them, because you recommended them. You have to follow up. That also helped me to connect them to other resources because of that follow-up strategy. Don't throw money at people and not to hold them accountable. That's where accountability comes in if you are the facilitator of those type of loan programs.
You spoke about low interest, and that's something our businesses here cry about so much, that the interest from the banks here, the interest rates are so high. And sometimes, even before you walk out of the bank with what you went to borrow, they already took the interest out, and probably they gave you a short time to start the payment. Obviously, high interest rate is an obstacle to these businesses, and I'm sure you want something done about that.
Oh yeah, and I want something to be done about that. But I have practically done something about it in Philadelphia.
Okay.
That situation exists everywhere.
Okay.
So I mentioned CDFR. CDFR is different from a traditional bank. CDFR, they are community development financial institutions. They are
Okay.
funded by the federal government, they are funded by state government and city government to provide loans to small business owner. So when I started this project, business owner were going to traditional bank where they will borrow money with 12% interest rate. And I realized that was hard for a small business owner. How much are they taking home if you're already charging them 12%? So I needed to find a competition that will lower that interest rate. So I invested in researching CDFR, knowing my own background and what CDFR mean, and I was able to identify a couple of those CDFR in the city of Philadelphia and help to establish partnership with them. I was very straightforward with them. I went to them and said, look, I have quantified 700 small business owners. They are going to be your clients, borrowing money from you. They are already tired and frustrated from traditional bank,
high interest
rate from traditional bank. So we need to make sure we sit down at front. We discuss this, that make sure you give them a little more lowest interest rate as compared to the bank. And the CDFR, they saw that as a welcoming news. And they were able to reduce the interest rate from 10%, 12% to 8% for small business owner.
And this CDFR lending only cover, the Philadelphia area.
No, they're all over the United States.
Okay.
They are just looking.
But they don't go overseas. They don't borrow overseas.
Well, they don't borrow overseas necessarily. Something that we need to investigate and see. But there are other foundations. There are other endowments like the William Penn Foundation. They are pretty much doing small business development in South Africa. And I was part of that connection where I was able to connect them to some of the Mandela Fellows that visited me and our agency in Philadelphia. We toured them in a city, and we were able to explain to them the kind of work we do. And some of those Mandela Fellows individuals were very interested in leveraging that partnership, and I was able to connect them to William Penn, and William Penn suddenly took advantage of that connection and begin to do small business development programs in South Africa to empower underserved community and individual, primarily women and minority-owned businesses, to make sure that they succeed with low interest funding. But make sure, again, follow up matter. You cannot throw money at people when they need to pay back for you to just sit down and say, you know what, John will remember to pay my money back. No, please remind them, follow up on them, make sure and explain to them that this is going to help them to increase their borrowing capacity if they are on time with payment as well. And I can tell you, out of the 700 small business owners I'm working with, we have graduated some of them from borrowing $10,000 to $50,000 to $500,000 and even to $1 million project.
Wow.
And some of them are Liberian. And guess what? This is an interesting thing. Those people, some of the Liberian business owners come to Liberia, purchase those Agnes products that we consume here on a daily basis, cassava leaf, dried fish, whatever you think about human consumption here is needed also by us in the city. Palm oil is some of the biggest thing. I have a pilot project with 10 Liberian-owned business owners that I was able to get them to borrow at least $350,000 each of them to make sure that they invest in importing Agnes product into Philadelphia and to other part of the U.S.
Well, that's interesting. You are listening to the Bumper Show. We are talking to Mr. Musa Trawali. He's the Director of Community Development Program for the African Cultural Alliance of North America, also known as ACANA, funded by the city of Philadelphia. He's our guest on this last segment of the program. We are talking about business development. We're talking about the economy because everything boils down to economy, because once these businesses are developed, indeed, the economy will definitely show the effect of that. You want to call us? I'm sure. Keep listening. We will open the lines very shortly. Then you can start to put your calls through. But you spoke about this CDFR, something very, very interesting, even though it's funded by the federal government, like you said. But is it feasible that the government here can get something of such going on for the businesses?
Yes, I think it is feasible and it is possible as well. Study need to be done, but I think the government can look at government-owned financial institutions, empower them to provide low interest rate to
Okay.
entrepreneurs as compared to private banks in the area, and that's possible. And government can it will help the government to create more entrepreneurs, but also those entrepreneurs are also to employ Liberian citizens or even employ individuals so that we can reduce the unemployed number of our people. But it certainly can be done. Some of the projects that the government engage in, let's evaluate them and say, look, government is engaging in project like that versus business program versus providing loan to low interest funding to uh, well-spirited entrepreneur in the city of Monrovia or even beyond or even in a county. How does that yield result versus other investments that the government is doing? So the funding can be leveraged, but also the government can also partner with some of the chambers, okay. Diaspora chambers, like even the Philadelphia Department of Commerce. There can be a program where the government of Liberia can negotiate with a sisterly city like Philadelphia through its Department of Commerce and see whether there can be some funding available to provide low interest rate to business owner here and see how they can. I mean, and this I think that can be studied, but I'm sure if you open that type of conversation, certainly there can be a leeway for funding resources to help our small business owner here. And some of the international partners too, they do have programs like that.
Okay.
But again, what are the institutions that are really prepared with the capacity to deliver these services are questions that we all need to answer.
President Joseph Boakai once served as agriculture minister. He also served as head of the Liberia Produce Marketing Corporation, the LPMC. You know, these institutions, especially LPMC, very, very instrumental in the food security of Liberia. Now he's emphasizing the agriculture sector to be used to, boost the economy, to restart the Liberian economy. From your point of view, agribusiness or investment in the agriculture sector, is it a high-hanging fruit? Is it a yielding sector?
Well, it should yield sector because of our consuming populations. We have a group of us. We depend on our own local products, okay, for consumption. How do we increase the capacity of production? So again, the president work as an agriculture minister. He understands how to provide local commodities for Liberian, but even more so, I just mentioned to you everything that we eat here in Liberia are also consumed overseas, especially in the US.
Sure.
Okay, so the question is, do we partner with the consuming public there and say, look, let us come together and invest in a production? Because I give you this cassava, right? Uh, Acheke come from cassava.
Hmm.
The Ivorian export, because I work with Ivorian business owner, they export Acheke in a continent to the United States. Acheke has become this type of popular food for not just African, but also for African American and other nationality in the US. So that connection helped to increase the production capacity for cassava in places like Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. Plantain fufu. I see non-African purchasing fufu on a shell, eating it, plantain fufu, cassava fufu, and other things. So yes, agriculture is one way to go. Certainly, once we can increase our production capacity, we can also leverage that to exporting product to diaspora. The palm oil. I mean, you might overlook it, but the palm oil, a tin of palm oil, sometimes I remember it was being sold for $80 to $90 US in 5 gallons in the US. And you're thinking about folks coming from all over the US to come to places like Philadelphia to purchase palm oil and transport it even as far as Canada.
0777835 You can call that number. You will be live on the program. 0777835 or better still, you can call us on 0886616580. Those numbers are now active. You call them, you will talk to our guest, Mr. Musa Traoré, Director of Community Development Program for the African Cultural Alliance of North America, funded by the city of Philadelphia. Let's hear from this caller. Hello? Let me just make a little adjustment. Yeah, okay, yes, hello. Oh, that caller left the line. You can put your call through again, 0777835 086616580. Those are the numbers you can call. You want to be a part of the program. You've been listening. You have questions for Mr. Traoré. You have comments that you want to make on the program. Call those numbers and you will be live here on the program. Let's hear from this person. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Thompson Morris, and I'm calling you from Grand GDS Directory.
Okay, Thompson, let's hear from you, bro.
Yeah, especially I want to talk on the agricultural aspect because I'm not selling dry goods. We are doing farming as a business.
Okay.
But my experience here is that we have been doing this with many organizations. They will come to encourage us and will be happy. But at the end of the day, when the success is coming down, then people feel that we are far off from the city, and then they will use their family, their cousins, and they will get it immediately. Then who are hardworking people will not be benefited. So yeah, then when it is possible that if you can take a country tour, it will also be good for us because every one of us are not able to go to Monrovia to attend these issues as well.
Okay.
That's my request.
Okay, so hopefully once Mr. Traoré can get the opportunity to start to work with businesses here, then he can include that in his plan, and probably you will see him in Grand Junction County.
Okay, I would love to see him and share my number with him. That's my personal number.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from another person. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jeffrey Pay, and I'm calling you from Bellevue.
All right, Mr. Pay, let's hear from you.
Okay, I want to say thank you so much for your studio guest for explaining in depth about his program. But I'm one person. I'm also interested in what he's doing, but I'm so much concerned as to how what channel people can contact him so that we can be in communications.
Okay. All right. So he's listening, and I'm sure he will address that. Once you want to contact him, I'm sure he will provide some link that you can get to him. If that's all, then thanks for calling.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. 077-835-862-0886. 616-580. Mr. Trawali, you heard the caller.
So the first caller made a very salient point. You will remember when I arrived here, you and myself and other we drove to Totota, but I went beyond Totota. I went as far as Lofa County.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you mean we just want to start Totota, came back, then you went
Yeah,
back?
then I went all the way to Lofa. But what I
Okay.
noticed driving to Lofa, I saw a lot of products on the highway. And speaking to some of the local farmers, the concern was how can this get this product to Monrovia? And of course, we know during rainy season, there's road barriers and stuff like that. But the color concern is people will come and talk about these things once they start to yield fruit.
Yeah.
And then the people will take away the opportunity and they benefit less. I think these farmers, these crop producers need to organize themselves into some kind of association so that people don't just deal with them at an individual level where they will take advantage of them, but they deal with them at an organizational level so that they will be able to earn the respect of the farmers and understand that they put work, sweat into this product, and they should be paid very well. And the other caller want to know how to get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me through the Liberian Business Association.
Okay.
They do have my contact because I don't want to deal with individual, but I want to deal with a group of people to be able to facilitate program like that.
Okay. So we have another caller. Hello.
I'm Steve Miwasebe calling from.
Say that again.
I'm Steve Miwasebe calling from Sokene community.
Okay, Steve.
I'm very impressed with the video guest platform. It's very encouraging. I really love to be a part of the program that he's talking about because I feel that as Liberian, when we are training into business, it will help us. And like the example he gave with respect to one other guy from either Zambia or Gambia who is in a triple business, if we as typical Liberian, we can be trained and make business like that and employ people, they will be of benefit to the masses. What the Levelon is full of people are doing is not medicine. So just as he has been saying in his platform, if we can be trained and that accountability with the knowledge of it is imparted to us, then we will stand a chance to do business.
Okay.
For me, I've been in a small business for up to 10 years, but
Okay.
I need more knowledge so that I can see how best I can make my business grow to be able to employ people as much as possible. Like I'm in a soap production. I produce different kinds of soap.
Soap production. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll be very happy to know him personally. You know,
Okay.
the training he's talking about when the time reaches, if you can, this is my number, you can get my number. I'll be available at any time. Because I was
Okay.
hearing you talking about people being recommended.
Okay, Steve. Thank you. And if you're still listening to the radio, Mr. Trawali said you can get in contact with him through the Liberia Business Association, the umbrella association of Liberian indigenous businesses. So once you can get at the Liberia Business Association, their office is on AB Tower Road, then sure you can link up with Mr. Musa Trawali. Hello?
Really?
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm Julius Santos and I'm calling from Maryland, the Southeast.
All right.
Yeah, I want to thank the studio guests for that brilliant program you're about to establish, or which of course you are already established?
The man, listen. Let me just remind you now. Their program here is established in America. It has not come to Liberia, so he's looking at the possibility if he can link Liberian businesses with the businesses he's dealing with. That's the plan that I'm asking him. How much is he, thinking about that? But
But this is interesting because I see that
So
there's
what
a
I want to find out is that whether he will be able to go across the county, like coming in the southeast as well, when he's possible to come in Liberia.
okay, all right. He will respond
no,
to that. Thank you.
that's very good. I like the spirit of people wanting to acquire more knowledge because knowledge is very powerful. Being a business owner without knowing how to even market your product, how to even speak to your customer, how to embrace people to come and shop, and how you can tell somebody your product is better than the next person product is very important. So I see the desire of Liberian wanting to be trained to understand small business development, not just standing on a highway and doing business as usual, but prepare them so that they can improve. And those preparation, those training will come with some level of certification so that people can understand that even if you want to seek employment somewhere, they say, oh, this person already have some level of credential in managing small business, and it help you in your life.
077-835-862-086-616-580. Call those numbers and you talk to Mr. Musa Trawale. Mr. Trawale, what's your relationship with the Liberia Business Association?
Well, my relationship is through Kumba Bindu and National Territory.
Okay.
Because I was their guest last year.
Okay.
I appeared here again. I mentioned that earlier. I was in the studio with Bafle Kamara.
Okay.
We talk about linking small business owners with from Liberia to that of small business owners in the U.S. Some of the issue we addressed that time was trust. If somebody in the diaspora want to partner with a small business owner here, are they willing to take risks on them with 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, and with that person don't take that money and make it their own, but instead to work and improve that funding, because small business owners in the United States are looking to buy product from here. There's no need for them to pay their plane ticket, plane fare, or come to Liberia and stay in a hotel if they have that trusted partner here that they can exchange funding with, and that person be able to send them the product. It's a two-way street, but there got to be a confident billing.
Okay. All right. So on that note, we are going to call it a day on the program. But first, we will take Mr. Trawale's parting comment. Maybe he came with something that he... But I see this call coming in. Probably this person wants to make a point a little bit. Hello? Hello? Yes. Okay, so let me... Okay, so we'll go back to Mr. Trawale to take his parting comment.
Well, again, I want to say thank you to you and to the studio's staff. But more importantly, thanks to the listening audience. The Flower March of Liberia is all of our responsibility. So whatever expertise you have acquired over the years, it's good to come back home to share with your brothers and sisters, to improve the economy, to create job opportunity, but to prepare the next generation for our country, because we're going to need them, and we don't want to just sit down and look at them go down a drain when we can help to empower them to provide some level of knowledge that they will use. They don't have to depend on government job to survive, but yes, they can create their own business, and somebody is willing to train them, provide the technical service, and even possible provide funding opportunity so that they can grow and become self-sufficient and self-sustaining people.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. He's Mr. Musa Trawali. Mr. Trawali is the Director of Community Development Program for the African Cultural Alliance of North America, ACANA, funded by the city of Philadelphia in the United States. He's been our guest on this last segment of the Bumper Show today. Mr. Trawali, thanks so much for coming. Thanks for taking our call.
I appreciate the opportunity given me as well. Thank you.
Okay, so on that note, that's how we end this edition of the Bumper Show.